former minister of the Cape government in South Africa, and he has received many accolades. He runs a company that has got offices in London, Singapore, South Africa, and Germany, and the company has been recognized with numerous awards. I won't labor to go through all the awards because they are too many and too powerful. For me, I consider him a mentor, a father. He traveled all the way from Cape Town to come and share with us. Dr. Michael Lewis, the floor.
Well, good afternoon, colleagues.
Good afternoon.
Great to be part of another family. And thank you to Mr. Kudani and the CEO Roundtable for just your heart and your spirit to influence and affect change. And I've really enjoyed some of the sessions that I attended this morning. And I don't know if you know, but they did a search on successful people. And in the search, they shown that when it comes to successful people, 14% only was attributed to your gifts and your talents that you were born with. 27% was for all those wonderful degrees that some people put on their walls. So only 27%. But what do you think 51% is attributed to the contribution of successful people? Can I hear anybody respond? 51%. What do you think? 51% is the contributing factor of successful people in the world. Just because of time, I know Candace is very difficult. She's a matriarch. Can you believe it is what you learn from others? Isn't that amazing? And that's why I really believe that time that we're spending together is not a waste of time. Because even if you just learn one new idea, it can totally change the trajectory of your life. And so I'm truly very privileged to be asked to share something that's very deep in my heart today. Not today, but always. And it's something that I really believe I totally understand. And I regard myself an extremely privileged individual. But definitely not for what most of you will think why I believe I'm privileged. I'm privileged because there is a saying that an apple tree doesn't give lemons. I'm just going to repeat it. An apple tree doesn't give lemons. Means that you represent the original tree that you come from. And I am going to focus my submission to you this afternoon only what I believe is the key ingredient for generational wealth. And it's going to be preceded by giving you a little bit of history on proviso that you take it very softly, and I'm just trying to give you just some background about who I am and why I so strongly believe in what I'm going to submit to you this afternoon. The first thing is that my grandfather, I'm Lebanese, and my grandfather came to South Africa in 1914 because, as you know, in the Middle East there was a lot of wars, and he wanted to give his generation a better future. And he left Lebanon in 1914 to come. He must have traveled months and months and months on a boat, and he landed. Many of the family in Lebanon still believe they thought he was in South America. How he ended in South Africa, I'm sure not even he knows, because in those days they weren't so educated about global maps. But he ended in Cape Town, and he and his brother then decided to start a business. And it's a long story how they started the business, and a story we're very proud about, which I could share at another occasion. So the business started in 1914, and they were two people, and they taught themselves the importance of three key stakes in the ground. The first stake was faith. The second issue was the whole aspect of family, and then the whole other one was the sense of being together as a family and financially being secure and carrying over the values of what it is to be together. So I'm going to talk to you about each one of those values, because one of the privileges that I've got is that I grew up in a home where my grandmother, every time when I came to school, she opened up, she was Greek Orthodox. Every time she went early in the morning at 6 o'clock, every day, to open up the cathedral, and when I came back from school at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, we would pass by the cathedral and I would see her kneeling down and praying. And she taught me, because we were also taught your eyes don't lie. She taught me at a very young age the power of prayer. And so as a result, you know that many of you that are, and I'm never scared about my faith or mentioning my faith journey, but many of you say that never underestimate the power and the prayer of grandmothers. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
And if you've got a powerful, prayerful grandmother, that's one of my gifts, which I had praying for me every single day. The second one is the sense of family, being Lebanese, because it was a culture that was surrounded by family. I'm sure you all know about the Mediterranean people, the Greeks, the Italians. It's all about family. It's not something that's a new concept. So as a result, everything to me is family. It's the way I grew up, it's the way I think, and it's my main focus area. So with that, that's where my trajectory is, where a lot of people were thinking about sustaining businesses and making businesses. My headspace was always to keep the custodianship of a family, and me being now the leader of the fourth generation, that's all I'm interested in, is maintaining the values, the culture, and who we are and what we are. That's all I'm focused on. And so as a result, colleagues, the privilege that I've got, I'm standing before you, that our company, the Louis Group International, is now 111 years old. And the third generation and the fourth generation that I had, we are 5 brothers. And we sit next door to each other every day of my life working together. Do you believe that that is unique?
Very unique.
5 brothers every day trying to maintain the legacy. And I was listening to Sebastian's talk, and there was just so much value in what he said. And why I feel I'm so blessed and honored is because my safety net is not all the side incomes you get, or whether I'm going to have a job tomorrow or anything. The only thing that's my safety net is my family. Because if I fail, and we've gone through, I'm going to tell you some of the things we've been through, but when I fail, I've got my 5 brothers to pick me up. Because none of them, when I sit with them every day for 50 years or 40 years, they're not going to drop me if I haven't got a job, or I haven't got a retirement, or I haven't got anything. And I think, if I can be personal, because I'm speaking in Zimbabwe, but I'm also come from a South African background and South African context, I think the black culture has lost that. The whole issue of talking about the importance of family and generational wealth, of how to really tap into moving and transferring your wealth as individuals to your children's children. You know, there is that biblical story. Well, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do now, because I don't want to preempt it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the silos. And because there's a lot that I could share regarding each silo, I'm going to break it in 5 issues that I learned spiritually, 5 issues that I learned in business, 5 issues that I learned in a sense of family, and 5 issues then in financially. So let me go to the first silo of spiritually. What are the 5 key elements that I've learned generationally that's been carried down? The first one I've told you about is the power of prayer. I totally believe in it. I totally believe it's powerful. Until today, even this morning when I spoke to my father, because my father is 93 and my mother's 88, and can you believe it, my father's still chairman of the company and he's 93. And he phoned me this morning and he said, Michael, where are you? And I said, Dad, I'm speaking at a conference and things. He says, I'm going to pray for you. The power of prayer. The second one is the commandment that says God leaves an inheritance to his children's children. 3rd generation. It's a commandment. But friends, unfortunately, it's not wealth. God's commandment is not telling you, please, you must work 24 hours that you can leave your children's children money. It goes about generational legacy, value in a lawyer's firm, and then from 5 to 10, you go to university, and from 10 to 12, every single night, you do your homework, and I did that for 7 years of my life. Because he believed that don't give an inheritance too early to your children. Fourthly, the whole issue about unity, spiritually. Where there's unity, God commands a blessing. I can see it in our nation, I can see it in our family, I can see it in businesses, and my prayer is spiritually that the part of our success to go generationally into the 4th generation is because we understand the issue of unity. And those that haven't got unity in your family, please do me a favor. When Candace says go and write something in the room, and you must go and take it and you must throw it in a dustbin, I'm saying go and write on a piece of paper a commitment that if you're not talking to your sister or you're not talking to any of your family members, go and do it and create unity, because God says there's a blessing. And then lastly, my favorite scripture that says, remember I'm only dealing with the spiritual issues now, is in Corinthians that says, and listen to it, it's not the seen, but the unseen. Because the seen is carnal, and the unseen is eternal. Friends, don't work on material things. To get bigger houses, bigger jobs, bigger cars. It's not where your energy must be. Be on legacies, on teaching your children bigger things than just material things. That's a commandment. And then I come to the silo of a family. And these are really some redeeming features that have really kept us very strong as a family. And the first one is honor your mother and your father. And there I must say, in a lot of the black cultures, I love the way they honor their parents. And the way they look after their fathers and their mothers and things and stay with them in their homes. It's a magnificent, magnificent quality. But the second one is where I fail hugely in my personal life. It's the priorities of where everybody must be in the silos. So the priorities is first God, then your wife, then your children, then your parents, and then your brothers. Now, being transparent to you, I've got no problem with putting God first in my life. But unfortunately, I have failed to put my wife second and not where my children have taken all my space. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as we grew up in boys, and we were 5 sons as you heard, can you believe it, when my father came home from work at 5 o'clock, he would walk past all the boys and first greet my mother. Until today, in their relationship of 93 and 88, he reminds us as boys the importance of the mother and his wife. Always. And I've got that, I need to still learn that my wife comes before my children. I hope it makes some sense to some of you. And thank you for allowing me to be a little bit transparent as well. Then the third one is the belief, the father heart of God. I want to ask you a question. if one of you commit a murder, if one of your children commit a murder, would you still love that child, yes or no?
Yes.
What do you say?
Yes.
Definitely. So, all right, so what I want to say to you is, remember this term, the Father Heart of God. I honestly believe, well, definitely in our family, because I'm talking about values for generations. I know I can commit a murder, I know I can steal, I know I can do anything, but my Father will still love me. I know it's the belief. And it's the term Father Heart of God, because I know whatever we do, God will always love us. And that's why I believe, and it's a security in my family that there's no conditions on my Father's love. There's no conditions. That he'll be upset if I commit a murder, and that he'll be upset and reprimand me and forgive me. But that will not take away his love for me, because his love to me is definitely unconditional. And then last but not least, the fourth one is the sense of family. We are encouraged in our family every Sunday to have a family lunch, to share family stories, to be able to laugh together, you need to make an effort. It's like relationships. If you don't put the effort in being together as a family, you'll never have it. It's effort. We are encouraged to do it, to sit together, to eat together, and definitely Easter, Christmas, it's like a rule that the family will be together. And then last but not least, you can go to any of our homes. There will be hundreds of photos of our grandfather, our grandmother. We've got pictures of the history. You can ask me in the middle of the night, who was your grandmother's sister? And I will be able to tell you. You need to keep your heritage and your traditions alive, because it's part of your roots. You have to do it and you have to work at it. But it starts with putting up photographs, because if you are proud about your family, surely you'll take photographs and put them all over your house when you go. So please don't come visit me, because it looks like a museum. But anyway, so not a museum of great paintings of great artists in the world. It's all family photographs and different meetings. And it's not because it's forced upon us, but it's because how proud we are of who we are, what we are, where we come from. And when we spoke about the baobab tree, those are the things that we're wanting to leave behind. Now I come to the silo of financial. Colleagues, even although we've got a generational business, one thing you can write on your forehead: you will go through seasons of wealth and seasons of desperate despair. And in your seasons of desperate despair, you need to go and treasure and celebrate them, because that's where your lessons are going to be learned. And I've seen it so many times. We had a bank in Switzerland that overnight just collapsed because there was a regulatory reform of Basel III that said you need to have the same amount of money in the bank as what you've got debt. And so as a result, we had to start escalating, and the bank collapsed. And overnight, our whole European operation collapsed, and it was a nightmare to be able to travel through those times. But I learned you're going to have seasons of wealth and seasons of bad, and treasure them. There's no good and bad. Well, please feel good if you go through a good season, but don't feel bad if you're going through a bad season. Rather take the lessons that you learned. And Sebastian, I promise you, you wouldn't have been the person you are today if you didn't go through some seasons of what you were learned. Now I want to tell you a story to illustrate the next issue regarding finances. I went to play golf, and I'm not a good golfer at all, but it was in a game reserve. And it says, beware of the animals. That's all it says when I went to play. And I'm not on the golf course all the time. And I was hitting about on the 4th or the 6th tee, and I hit a wonderful shot, and it landed below a tree. And I went and stood below the tree, and all of a sudden, a big baboon jumped out of the tree and got to my ball and took my ball and threw the ball to another space. All right? Now there's 2 lessons out of it. You're going to, in your life, CEOs, go, it will be a wonderful day. You'll be riding and you'll be singing songs in the car. You'll be feeling happy. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, a big baboon jumps out of the tree. Unexpected. Unexpected. But what is the rule? The rule is play the ball where it landed. You can't go and take that ball and take it back. The rule is play the game where the ball has landed. And so prepare yourself for big baboons in your life that are going to jump out of the tree. Then the other 2 were spoken about this morning, but I'm just going to talk about it. Ken spoke so beautifully about it last night, about minimum debt. I'm very privileged to govern a company that has got a huge balance sheet, but a CEO that truly is not a person of debt. And can you imagine, like you said last night, a $300 million balance sheet with only $1 million debt? He doesn't believe in gearing a balance sheet. And it's something that I've been brought up with, and something that I really believe. So minimum debt is something that you can really work on. And then last but not least is to spread your risk financially. Really try and see what you can do to, if anything happens in your life, that you have got other safeguards in your life, savings accounts, other annuity incomes that can balance in what your trajectory is of your life. I think that is really, really, and especially annuity income is important. Then friends, I come to our group, the Louis Group. What made us sustain 4 generations in the group? The first issue is, I don't know how many of you have heard this, but they say, please don't do business with family. Is that a true concept?
Yeah.
In our family, every single family member is encouraged to join us. And I think we 9, 10, 11 already. We've got now the 4th generation, we've got 5 of the younger generation coming in already. And their trajectory, their will is, there is a family business and they are very welcome and very encouraged to come. And I will do business with a family member tomorrow. I will rather encourage and get a family member to work with us and to give them seed capital and to encourage them rather than anybody else. It's just the way we made up of it. And so I'm just wanting you to reverse that notion. It's a lie from the devil. Don't work with your family. It's just not the way we've been brought up. Then the second one is each person in your family has got its own gifts and talents. For many, many years, you heard I was in South African government in the 1994 with Mandela's release. A lot of leaders went into government, and my father always reminded me, I was a young man of 34 when I decided to go into politics, and my father said, you know, Michael, you gave your best years to government. And I said to him, Dad, you don't quite understand. Government gave me my best years. And why am I saying that is because we've got different gifts and talents. I had a 3rd eldest brother that was much more gifted than what I was to run a business and to financial acumen, that he wanted to think about making money every day. It's not where my heart was. I just don't want to do it, you know. Rather give me to motivate, inspire, to leave influence and do what I'm doing today, to impart knowledge and to equip other generations is what really gives me much greater pleasure. Then thirdly is total trust and belief. For family businesses to survive, you have to totally believe in your children, or your children has to totally believe in you as the leader. And it's a very difficult thing to do because you're going to make many, many, many mistakes. But you need to subconsciously train them to believe and trust. And we've got different segments of the business. We've got IT, we've got hotels, we've got farming, we've got different hotels. But when my brother in AI talks, honestly, I've got no idea what he's saying. But I totally believe and trust in what he's doing. It's a guarded trust because I can't say to him, just do what you want to. But I totally believe and trust him. And I think that's something that really makes because remember, I'm talking about key stakes that make family businesses work. That's a total trust. Then fourthly, mentorship and knowledge. We are always encouraged to mentor and train young people and our family members all the time. We always encourage, and if there's any businesses here today and you're wanting to send some of your interns or people to do an internship at the business, it's really something that we love doing in mentoring. We're not a family business that we believe in secrets. That if you come to us, there's a secret, don't let them get a secret recipe. We've got no secret recipes. The only secret recipe we've got is we're wanting family generationally to survive and to create wealth. That's the only secret we've got. And then last but not least, we're very encouraged to do collaboration and partnerships. As a business, we believe that we haven't got all the knowledge. We can't do it all. We love and encourage partnerships, and we've got huge relationships with corporates, private individuals, private family offices, and it's something as a value that we always encourage. Then I would like to talk to you about what I believe is one of the key ingredients for generational wealth, and it all goes about relationships. Relationships are absolutely key, and for relationships to work, the first element is you must have no judgment. If you're going to have a heart of judgment, you will not be able to build on relationships. Secondly, it's not what you have in life, it's who you have in life. I loved what Candace said about the networking and the comment about the importance of these type of gatherings. Remember what I said, it's not what you have, it's who you have. Don't underestimate who is sitting next door to you or in front of you. We've always taught it to our children. They go to university, but do they ever know the person in front of them could one day be a president, or he could one day be a chief magistrate, or he could one day be a chief executive of a company? Don't ever underestimate relationships and who you have in your life. Thirdly, the whole issue of authenticity. I love it I think age is a very good thing, because the older you become, the more authentic you become. I don't know if you also find that with yourselves. There's no games. The Michael that's standing in front of you today is 100% raw. You can ask me anything, you can say anything to me. Authenticity is just some of the greatest redeeming qualities that a person can have. And then I want to just end with the relationship one is, listen to this quote that Winston Churchill said. He said, because, I'm going to ask you people as well, but Winston Churchill said the following: success is never found. Failure is never fatal. What is the only thing? So success is never found. Failure is not fatal. What is the only ingredient? All right, just because I've got the graveyard shift, it's courage. Success is never found. Failure never fatal. Courage is the only thing. And all of you know it. If you haven't got the courage to step out, you're not going to make it. And then we heard today about the whole issue that I just want to address is about legacy and having a greater purpose than your own. It's really what also sustains me as an individual, as Michael, because we, as the Louis Group, we started a business program called the Louis Group Business Academy, where we took people that were cooking in the garage, or they were having some mechanical work, or that we taught them how to start a business, to have a bank account, how to label, how to market, and we took them all those steps, and executives from our company told them where they could get funding, and we taught them all the steps. And can you believe it, more than 2,000 to 3,000 people have gone through our business academy already. And it's something that even with the CEO Roundtable, Gibson, it's something that I really encourage you, because I saw it was one of the things that you're really looking at, some form of business transferring knowledge at academy schools and things. And also at West Prom, you would have seen the academy school that Ken Sharp has started, where he said last night he's already got 200 students. Now I want to say something about Ken Sharp, and allow me to be a bit personal. In the sense is, I've really worked with a lot of leaders, political leaders, business leaders, in many, many, many countries. Ken Sharp must rate, to me personally, as one of the greatest African leaders that I've ever met in business. And the nice thing about Zimbabwe, because I believe other countries will pay for a Ken Sharp to come to that country. But I wanted to thank Zimbabwe, because I really believe that you honor him the way he should be honored. But don't sit and just look at the television screen. Force your children to go and sit at his feet in the business school, because I learn every day from him, because he's got business skills that I haven't got. And my role, the reason why I accepted to take chairmanship as West Prom, was definitely not to make more money. My role at West Prom is to preserve the values and create the trajectory of a generational company that will last generations. And that's my only role. That's my role, to see that we can preserve the wealth and carry it on from one generation to not, and what is the lessons that we can learn. And it's something that you can all do as well. Then just talking about West Prop, I wanted to talk because we're talking about generational wealth, and hopefully you're going to hear some of the things that you can actively start with generational wealth. Because colleagues, it's not about starting big. It's about putting the first $50 down to let it be $100 to $200. We've been taught. Some people want to come with plans to us, and they've got these huge, huge plans of buying a warehouse and doing big factories and all that. And we always say to them, start small. And that's why we started the trajectory of 1 billion bricks, and to achieve 1 billion bricks by 2050. And it was all about bricks. And that's why we listed on the stock exchange, that every single person can go to the stock exchange and buy one brick for $50. One brick. And then the next 6 months, if they want to, they can buy 2 bricks for $50. And so they can do it so that when we build the Zimbabwe Mall, or when the Hills is built, you can say you're a part owner of that development. And that's why we are starting to say, what can we do to educate and leave legacy programs and investments that can live a lifetime? And so that's why we're now doing a new product that's going to be launched next week with the Apart Hotel. Because many individuals, and especially in Zimbabwe, I'm totally blown out of the water about the amount of money that Zimbabweans are putting out and believing in property. I obviously know it's because of the financial system in this country. But I cannot believe the opportunity for Zimbabweans to put their money into properties. And next week we're going to launch a new product, which is, and Ken spoke about it last night, which is a REIT, where you can buy a unit for $500. And what we're doing, many people hear about this Airbnb, you buy an apartment and then you rent it out and you get rental, but then you have to worry about who switches on the lights, the Wi-Fi and all that. And that's why we've got a new model where we're getting one of the top international hotels that are coming into Zimbabwe to be the managers of this hotel. And so they will totally manage your asset. And they will let it out, they will manage it, they'll see to it that there's coffee in the rooms, they'll see that the sheets are looked after, and you can be part owner of that for $500. And already we are, I can't tell you how well subscribed we are. But for $500, it's something that you can look at, because remember, I'm talking about generational wealth. I'm trying to educate you to say, please don't think how you can buy a house for $200,000. Please don't look how you can buy something for $100,000. Look how you can buy something for $500 or $50, and start small and teach your children at a young age to do that. Just talking about that, I'm wanting to say that I'm very glad Rutenda's here, because I've told her this before. Colleagues, we need to train the young people how to invest on the stock markets and try and make money. And if there's other institutions here that want to partner with Westprop, of just as a philanthropy, how we can educate and train individuals how to invest in the stock exchange, and how to create general wealth. We're definitely putting up our hand to partner with you, because it's a way of sowing seeds into the community. Then another product that we're bringing in, that's a new product in South Africa, and seeing that this is a retirement conference, it's an excellent idea. And I don't think all of you even understand the leasehold model that Ken spoke about last night, but I'm not going to go through it all again just because of my time. But the retirement aspect is just as outstanding. And it's one of the greatest selling concepts in South Africa property-wise at the moment. And it's all about life right in retirement. So what happens in retirement, because it goes about that whole aspect that was told about this morning about accommodation, is many individuals haven't got the $200,000 or the $100,000 to put into something. But what the life right is you go and buy a unit. And you can buy a once-off, you put down $100,000, and you stay in an apartment, a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom apartment, and in a lifestyle center, and you get pools, gyms, 24 hours medical. It's high luxury. And what happens is that you don't pay any other cost but your rates and taxes, and you're buying a lifestyle, because it expires once you die, or if you're even wanting to move out. And once you die, or you decide to end it, you immediately get your money back, less 25%. So you're buying a lifestyle, and it's like a unit you're buying just to live a quality life. And I know most of us want to give our parents a quality life at their ending days. And this is a way to make it cheaper. So we're busy putting a scheme together to bring lifestyle retirement into Zimbabwe. All I'm just trying to do is to tell you our hearts as Westprop is generationally. It's not about only for ourselves to make money, but what can we give in our creative energy and sourcing to help everybody to be able to live a better life and a better life generation. Then I'm going to land my plane now with closing with a few hints, and it was very well communicated today. Friends, there's no such a thing in our minds as retirement. It's only about, he mentioned repurposing, but that's exactly what it is. We don't think, my father's 93, he's still working, but it's just repurposing your life and making sure, just changing the wind of your sails to whatever's going to make you really work. And just as a principle, because these are hints, these are facts that have been internationally proven, is that if you want to go into retirement, most people ask, how much money must you have to retire? Our scenarios that we are selling is that you must have 15 to 20 times your annual income. All right? Your monthly income. 15 to 20 times your monthly income. And the return that you draw is 7% that you can draw out of that income per year. So that's the type of gut feeling, and I love the question that was asked earlier. What is the first thing that we must do when we walk out of here? It is about a vision, and that vision is, this is what I'm earning, and this is my lifestyle at the moment, and I can live comfortably. What is that amount that I must get 15 to 20 times that amount of income to be, sorry, it is annual income, not monthly, your annual income. Then just a lot of estate things, because this is a retirement issue, and it was also dealt with. In our family, with my father, I totally know what I'm getting, and I totally know his will, and I totally know everything. There's no such a thing that I'm waiting for that attorney to call me to say this is what inheritance you've been left. Already in his house, he's got stickers under some of the furniture. This goes to Mark, and this goes to Collier, and this goes to... Everything already is earmarked in the house. Who gets what? Nobody, there's no friction. We know everything. The only thing that we don't know, and that is what I'd like to encourage you, because estate planners always talk about a will, but what they don't talk about is a letter of wishes. All right? And a letter of wishes is your heart. Thank you, Michael, for being the great son you are, and I love you. You've been whatever you're wanting to say. Write a letter of wishes, because I've sat in many estate meetings, because we've also got an estate planning meeting. It's so cold. I bequeath so much to this, and but a letter of wishes is something so beautiful, so real, and I encourage you to do that letter of wishes for yourselves. Colleagues, I end by saying, don't live somebody else's life, because life is too short. Be a master of your own fate and captain of your soul. You know, there's that wonderful scripture, the tongue is the pen of a skillful writer. So let me say it again. The tongue is the pen of a skillful writer. Do you know the power of the tongue? You can speak your future. You can speak life. You can speak. So I'm always very careful from what I speak. Colleagues, speak life and future on Zimbabwe. Speak its prosperity. Speak life onto your children, on your generations. Start working on your generational life. God has a special role and place for you. Stay in your own life, because your own life will teach you all your own lessons. Stop comparing your life with others. Because pay attention what is in your own life. Everything is there. You don't need to look somewhere else. And I've been very blessed in my life. I don't know how many of you know that a person that actually was in the presence of a great man called Nelson Mandela. And in my years in government and things, I was very, very privileged to be exposed to him. But one of the greatest sayings that he said, I wasn't present when he said it, but it is one of my favorite quotes. And I really think it's great, where he says, nobody is born to hate somebody because of their skin color, their religion, or their color. You learn to hate. But if you can learn to hate, you can learn to love. Because love is more natural to the human spirit. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. That we must learn to love one another. It's such a great quality. Don't live as somebody else's life. Be a master of your own fate. At the end, truthfully, friends, generational wealth is only, to me, functioning mothers and fathers, bound together in functioning families where our children are the first and greatest asset and our responsibility. The first order, you might think it's bad news, the first order is not economic policies, but generations that love their children, that do all to give them the advantage of living their lives on our shoulders and beyond. I thank you.
Avec more energy.